Hi there. I just finished my workout here. I have a few minutes here before dinner, quick shower and dinner. I just want to update you on what I've been doing today. This morning I did a certain amount of reading, but mostly reading of patterns. And that's the focus of the video today is patterns. I believe language learning consists of, on the one hand, a lot of exposure to meaningful content, which hopefully as soon as possible, you can move into sort of interesting, authentic content that grips you. But the other part of it is getting used to the patterns of the language. And I'm going to show you some of the material that I've used. And today I did a lot of reading of these basic patterns, and then while working out now, listening to them. I had a few other things that I had to do today. I was interviewed, by the way, for 40 minutes by a journalist about language learning, so I had to spend time, and I'm always happy to explain my views on language learning. I was asked what I thought of Speak from Day One as a strategy, and I told the reporter. And the other thing is that while I focused on patterns, as I will show you, I also did some basic linking on LingQ, reading some more articles from Chosun Ilbo, and discovered that my Naver Korean dictionary is actually a tremendous dictionary, and it has a number of other sort of subsets of that dictionary, which we are going to now link with, connect to LingQ so that I can more easily find the Chinese characters that are associated with these words that I'm looking up, because that's going to speed up my vocabulary acquisition. But the articles I read had to do with the disputes between Korea and Japan on little islands and references to history and to the present government in Japan and their approach to their own history, and very interesting subjects that deal with the whole history of the last 100 years between Japan and China. So I'm looking forward to getting into that, but today I focused on patterns, and that's what I'm going to show you. Let me explain what I mean by patterns. This is an excellent book for patterns. It says Hangul Bumpo, Hangul grammar, Korean grammar in Japanese. The book is full of patterns. It describes a particular pattern, o chutta, and then it gives you examples, and that's all it does in the whole book. Very little grammatical explanation, which is perfect for me, and it just literally hundreds and hundreds of examples of all these different patterns. I read through it, I forget what I read. It has the Japanese translation, which is helpful, and then I listen to it. And then I, of course, don't get it all when I listen, and then I go back and read. And I spent a good hour and a half reading this book today, and then listening to it while I was exercising. And I've listened to it a lot, many times. There's still essentially the same places that I don't understand. I keep reading, keep listening. Today is day 14, so it's the end of the second week of my 90 days of the 13 weeks. If I keep doing this, I'm going to basically ingrain the basic patterns of Korean into my mind. Another book that helps me on my pursuit of patterns is this Continuing Korean, which was produced here at UBC. It has some good and some bad. The dialogues are much better than the average beginner book. The sound quality is excellent. Some of the problems are that it has a bit too much grammatical explanation for my taste. It introduces terms like retrospective modifier. I can learn Korean without ever knowing what a retrospective modifier is. Similar stuff, I was trying to find some typical examples of this. It does have examples, but you just have to skip through a lot of this other stuff. I had some other examples. Here we are, the copula. Intimate style. Okay, intimate style I can deal with. Copula, a little more difficult. Not quite sure what they're talking about there. And then they have a bunch of, like chewy, like pay attention here, Plain style, question ending differs from the sequential ending in that it is a one-shape ending, etc., etc. My experience is that we are much better able, copula transferentive. What is that? We are much better able to deal with examples. The brain will form rules and create patterns, and so we need a lot of exposure to the patterns. And that's why typically in all of these books where they have questions, I just go to the back and look up the answers, because typically the answers will be a concentration of examples of whatever pattern they're trying to drill you on. I don't like doing drills, but I like looking at the examples. Colloquial Korean, very quickly, was a book that I used when I started. It doesn't have a lot of examples of patterns. The audio is okay, but it's full of English, which I don't like. So literally I can't listen to it more than once because there's English on it. So it serves its purpose as an initial walkthrough, but in terms of ingraining patterns, it's not as good as Continuing Korean, which has a lot of patterns in it once you get past the grammatical explanations or skip over it, and this Japanese book, which probably is only useful for people who know Japanese. But patterns are key, and so while I'm a great believer in input-based learning and building up your vocabulary, and I'm going to put a lot of effort in that, in order to be able to speak, I need to have a better grasp of my patterns. Oh, and by the way, I spoke to a tutor last night. I tried to record it, it didn't work again, but I think I've solved the problem. I'm speaking to a tutor again tonight, and I'll try to show you a bit of the video of our discussion. Thanks for listening.